Hey team, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows. We are back with your Wildcard special. We've got loads to digest from the weekend just gone. I've got a few stories to tell from my ventures across the other side of the pond. And as always, I'm joined by Mr. Dean Jones. Dean, I've missed you, mate. I tuned in on Friday. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. We didn't know if it was you. Was it definitely you, was it? Because we had a lot of people suggest
YouTube. My second private YouTube channel, I think I was commenting on.
Oh, were you? Yeah. A lot of people were dubious as to whether that was actually you.
Yeah.
But yeah, very good. Yeah, I'm okay, mate. Obviously, a weird old weekend. Two big FA Cup ties, a Classico, and some random Premier League games along the way that I wish I had have got onto a couple of the big maulings, but didn't really. I mean, I had Mateta actually. I had Mateta, so that was a good call because that was a transfer in. And David Raya's 10 points were very nice indeed. Hello, Chai. Hello, mate. So that was good. Thanks for everyone jumping in the chat. Yeah, boo Miami, go Atlanta United. I'm not a big Inter Miami fan either, but G goes to Miami for 4 days and that's it. He's full kit. Look at him.
Mate, I've just realised. Hang on, sorry to interrupt. Mate, I think there's a fake me in the chat.
Oh, there is there?
I didn't write that.
Oh, look at that. Sorry, I'm late, guys. Had to do my
That's
hair.
Not me.
Oh, come on.
It was me on Friday, which is really strange. Which is
okay. So kick this guy out. He's a fraud. If you are
that's not me, but it's got a little YouTube sign by my name.
Mate, oh my, you have actually been cloned. You've been out of the country for a few days.
And I can't get in my YouTube account, so I'm slightly scared that it is me and I've just been hacked. I don't know.
Oh, well, I'll let you figure that out, of course, this show. That's a bit weird, isn't it? If you are pretending to be Gianni right now, first question, why? Second question, can you get out of his YouTube? Very weird. Hello to everybody else jumping in. We'll have to bear with G while he makes sure that his life isn't about to come to a standstill. And, you know, this ruined his life. If his YouTube channel was overtaken, this ruins G's life. And we cannot have it.
I can't even click on it because I don't know why. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe our producer can have a little look and see if that's actually a fake account. I'm sure it is, rather than someone on my account. But yeah, I'm not actually in Miami anymore, mate. I left Miami last night. I'm West Coast. I'm now in Seattle, which seems quite nice.
I've never been to Seattle.
Yeah, I've not, but it's sunny here. I thought it was going to be wet and miserable, but it's
look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful day. What's the time?
I know, so I'm quite looking forward to a little
early morning, is it? Yeah, 9 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah, mate, it was weird. The sun rises proper early. Like I think I woke up at 5:30, and there was definitely light coming in.
Not even any kid with you, and you're still getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's bad times, mate. That is.
Especially when I arrived at the hotel at like midnight last night after a 7-hour flight where I didn't sleep, and I was on like a Ryanair style flight, Alaska Airlines. My seat didn't go back at all. I was sat next to the toilets, which was full of just Americans using the toilet every second.
That's annoying.
And I was like that, wedged in for 7 hours. No screen, no recline. It was.
I saw your picture. Yeah, I saw the picture. The good news is CH points out you are now at the home of Starbucks, so that could get you through the day. I don't know if CH, let me know. In Chicago, they have a mega Starbucks. It's like a 5-story one, which is amazing. I'm guessing.
I saw your
yeah. So I've been to that one. I'm guessing in Seattle, if it's the home of Starbucks, they must also have like a supersized Starbucks. Let me know if that's right, because G will need to go and find that, obviously, because he's just got up at 5 o'clock. He needs some caffeine. Right, Chai, what's your game week score at the moment? Zubin wants to know. You make sure you get back to him. Chai came on the other day, mate. I know that you saw it. He was very good company. I appreciated him coming on. He is one of the crew, obviously now. What was your week like, man? And obviously, we're going to talk about how you're going into a wild card, but like, what's your week been like?
Yeah, I was delighted to have double Palace. It's funny because we were all talking about Palace on the free hit. Like Big Man's draft, to be fair, had triple Palace attack. He had Elise, Eze and Mateta. And those that free hit did go triple Palace. And I was just fortunate that I had two. I had in my actual non-free hit team. Most non-free hitters had none or one. So having both Mateta and Eze was great. I punted on Trent. So my transfers in this week were great. I bought in Trent, I bought in Eze. I was going to bring in Jota, and I spoke big about Jota on this show last week. I ended up going Havertz instead, partly because I was invited by FPL Guna, who's going to be in the chat, I'm sure, who I met in Miami. And he was like, do you want to come to the Miami Arsenal Supporters Club and watch the Arsenal game? And I was like, if I'm doing that, watching in that environment as a Havertz owner could be quite fun. And he had a shot on target in the first 2-3 minutes, and we were like the drinks went everywhere, even though it didn't go in. And I was like, oh, this is fun. And he got 3 points, and Jota got 12. So it was rubbish, but it is what it is. The other transfers paid off. So I got lucky on Trent. I got lucky on Eze. I mean, Trent was amazing. You watched Trent firsthand. He nearly had an assist in the first couple of minutes with one of those proper Trent crosses, sort of quarterback crosses. But the free kick, firstly, Jota was fouled nowhere near where Trent ended up taking that free kick from.
No.
It was it wasn't a couple of yards, it was about 6-7 yards out and on the angle. But what a hit.
Oh, so annoying it was. By the way, Gianni has been banned and their comments removed, so we never thought we'd see that in the chat. I was behind that goal, and Paulinho giving the foul away, and then Trent steps up. And so Dylan, my 6-year-old, is obsessed with top bins, right? Everything he hits, every time he plays football, he's like, watch this, Dad, top bins. And I said, right, Dylan, you talk about top bins. Here we go. The ball is about to go right in that top corner of Leno's goal. Like, that is where this ball is going to go. You're going to see one of the best top bins you'll ever see in your life. And he was amazed, obviously, that it ended up there. I sadly wasn't amazed that it ended up there. And then Trent runs over and hushes the Fulham. He does hush celebration in front of the Fulham fans, which wound a few people up. And Dylan then goes, the game wore on. And as we get towards the 66th minute, he goes to me, because Jack from Ranks, he was right by me yesterday. He goes, when it gets to the 66th minute, that's Trent's number. So let's boo him. We're like, what? And he's like, and he just starts booing. Got a 6-year-old, just totally buying into the fact that Trent hates Fulham. He was annoyingly good. And it was an unbelievable free kick. Liverpool didn't have to be as good as they normally would. I really fancied Fulham would come out and rock them yesterday, and we just really didn't. I mean, it is that time of season when you get the first teams heading to the beach. And I think Fulham might be the first team on the beach.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
We have nothing to play for. There's nothing to play for. Nobody's got anything to prove. And that was the game, really, where you thought you might still get a big performance out of them. If it didn't turn up against Liverpool at home, I'm like, well, what are we going to get from Palace at home next week? What are you going to get from Brentford away? City at home, I certainly don't fancy anymore at all. And then got Luton away to come as well. Yeah, I think everyone will be looking forward to playing us at the moment.
I think one of the mods has banned me. I just commented in the chat and it says I've been banned or put on restrictions because I was wanting to ask CH about recommendations in Seattle.
Oh, no. It's backfired.
I'm just not going to put anything in the chat. And then, if you see me, it's a fake one. So for today's show only, I won't write in the chat. CH,
this is chaos.
I am reading everything, although I won't respond. CH recommendations. Yeah, you're right, Dean, about on the beach, I reckon. I wonder if Wolves are going to be another one of them, because Wolves have got that mid-table mediocrity sort of standpoint against Arsenal. I mean, they hit the post in the first half.
I was disappointed with Wolves. I really was.
Yeah. And Sarabia was benched. And, there was a few surprise choices even from Gary O'Neill.
Yeah. Yeah, it was all disappointing. Tom says, unfortunately, my Forest have already begun beaching as well. I mean, the problem for your team, Tom, is you can still go down. My team can't. This is a bad time for Forest to go to the beach because they ain't done yet. This is not finished.
Yeah.
And Burnley are on the up. Burnley, I'm starting to think, do I need some Burnley assets in here? Because their form is good. Company's really talking them up. I think they have Forest to play, don't they?
Yeah.
And last day of the season.
When Burnley play average to poor footballing teams, they out-football them, which is why they smashed it in the Championship. Burnley's problem is they'll go and play Man City and try and play them off the park. And it's like they've only got one way.
Yes,
when they play bad teams, they have a real chance of winning football matches. And next up, they have got Man United. That is a 3-pointer for Burnley. It's good. They will have more possession than Man United. They will play better football than Man United in that football match. I think.
Yeah.
So not a bad
Did you
entry
manage
point.
to watch the United game? Did you watch the United game out there?
I didn't see it. I was following on like live chat, but I mean, it just sounded. I mean, we should talk about United as a team for wildcard, because when we're wildcarding now, you should be stacking up on teams that double in 37. So yeah, you're going to have Spurs and Chelsea players because they double in 35 and 37. But the doubles in 37, you've also got Man City, Newcastle, Man United, Brighton. Are there any Man United players you put on your wild card now? Because they've got good fixtures. Burnley is an entry point. They've got double in 37. Bruno is in the template wild card. When we see big man back as wild card, I guarantee you'll have Bruno in it. I personally have 0 Man United in my 11. I've got, I think, Onana as my sub keeper because I'll want him when I bench boost, and maybe Dalot as an option. But I'm not planning on Bruno, which I know he's been their best player, but I just can't. Yeah. You don't know what United's going to turn up.
Yeah, that's he's too expensive for me. That's the problem with Bruno. Like,
yeah, he's dropped this season though. I think he's only mid-8s now. He's not like De Bruyne money, you know.
Yeah, but I'd rather have, like, if I'm gonna go for a Man United player, I'd just rather pick someone that just might do something and crop up. I mean,
at 5 million, or even Højlund
exactly.
At 7. Yeah,
I think Højlund would be where I'd top out. I'd even be looking at, like, you see McTominay weighing in again with a guy, like, you might not rate him as a player, but McTominay will somehow between here and the end of the season come up with 1 or 2 goals. Garnacho will come up with 1 or 2, even though he keeps getting subbed, and Man United's downfall seem to be from there. You know, little things like that I would be looking out for with Man United. It's a really weird time. I'm not sure what's going to happen. British says Coventry were a toenail away from winning. It would have been absolutely incredible if that goal would have stood. Man United deserved to go out of the cup, to be honest. You cannot have moments like that. They're going to get absolutely battered in the final if that's what version of them turns up. But you never know. Stranger things have happened in football. Maybe they could pull off a miracle and win it. But yeah, in terms of wild cards, there's just nothing that jumps out as me as wanting to be anything to do with them. No matter what the fixture is, that's the problem with Man United. It's not even like you can bank on a home game against Burnley or a home game against Sheffield United, even that they've got coming up this week. Like, that's the problem. Like, you could have, like, I've got Garnacho, and you're thinking, okay, come on, like, Sheffield United at home this week, eat them up. Then you got Burnley, eat them up. I don't think they will. I'm
with you. I think that's really see, in my wildcard draft, and what I've seen for many is, if you go Bruno, you've got that. Okay. No, what? How do I? Okay, there's 4 obvious midfield picks. Foden's going to be on everyone's wild card. Son is going to be on everyone's wild card because he doubles. Palmer also doubles, so he's going to be in. And then I think Anthony Gordon, for those on wild card, you look at a 6 million midfielder who's got a good double. He's got really nice fixtures ahead of that double. Yeah. I think Gordon. So those 4 feel really set. So then midfielder 5 can be a Bruno, or if you can find the extra money, De Bruyne for me is a brilliant wild card.
Is he? Yeah.
Because City are out the Champions League, let's just look at this graphic from Lego Mane that I saw on Twitter this morning.
Yeah,
Lego Mane's done like rest days. Now, usually when you look at City's schedule this time in the season, if they're involved in the semis and they've got 2 extra Champions League games, it really does, especially for players like De Bruyne, really does put the fear of rotation in the squad or in managers' thought process. But as things stand, if we can just show that Lego Mane graphic, it doesn't look that bad for Man City. And I look at the fixtures and go, yeah, De Bruyne could play all of these.
Yeah, that is a good point. And it's hard. Foden's still the go-to, isn't it? Like, that's still got to be a go-to. Haaland's still hard to avoid, even though we're clearly not seeing the best of Erling Haaland. But how do you get De Bruyne, Foden, and Haaland, or do you not? That's
what I'm going for.
You are,
but
that's a lot of money.
It means your back line has to be budget. So instead of say you want a Newcastle defender, you probably can't go Trippier. You got to go Dan Burn. Or if you want to go, it's a lot of money, but it can work because your other strikers are fairly cheap. Like, we'll see. I've got Nico Jackson in because he doubles and he does get minutes. I know he's
rubbish.
I know.
Like, he's not actually. I'm going to take it back. as an outball, Nicholas
He's brilliant.
Jackson is brilliant. What an outball he is! Like
He
that
outpaced
guy.
Kyle Walker in that game with
He's
the ball.
like the way that guy runs, like he's got the longest stride in football, I think. Like he's unbelievable at just like opening out. If you put a ball into that area, he will just run into it. And I think he's great at that. But I don't understand why the guy can't finish. I don't understand why this hasn't got to the point. And this is what would annoy me if I was you as a Chelsea fan. I'd see the game against Everton and Madueke and Nicholas Jackson having their tantrum over the penalty kick, and then they get an opportunity in an FA Cup semi-final to step forward, and Madueke gives you a 4 out of 10 performance, and Nicholas Jackson maybe a 5 out of 10 performance, and doesn't take the chances that they get. And this is the problem with Chelsea.
Yeah. It's that for me, the Jackson chances, like the one-on-one, he's never going to be a forward that you see on a one-on-one and you feel confident with. For the same reason Darwin probably won't be. Like you get those forwards you just never feel confident with. And you go around the keeper and you're on your left foot and you're running so quick, you're over-rotating. I can see that miss and get it. But the header from 3 yards out, it's like a simple header and you just fire. And obviously kids are taught to head down, but you literally just fire it down into the keeper's hands. It's like, put something on it. Like,
yeah, it's strange, isn't it?
Range. So, yeah. If Jackson gets a yellow card on Tuesday night against Arsenal, I think that's when the game is, he's suspended for a couple because that'll be his 10th yellow. But that's the threshold. He's got 1 game to pick that yellow up. So he's got 1 game to avoid that yellow. If he avoids the yellow, he's in my wildcard team. If he doesn't, if he gets the yellow, then... yeah, I'll go Hoyland, I think, at a similar price point. I don't know if our producer was just maybe offline for a sec, but if we can show the graphic for the spacing of fixtures, we'll have a look at that. And then we'll show you my actual wildcard team. This is my first draft. Hit the likes and subscribes, people. I see some new faces in there. Hello, Langani. FPL Joe's in the house. Zubin, 87, of course. CH, Nicholas. Shout out Chai with us as well. Chai said he'd definitely go Anana. You're going to see Anana and Vicario as my 2 keepers. So yeah, look, we can see Man City on the top row here. Like, yes, so red is only 2 days turnaround. So between 34 and 35, that Forest fixture from Brighton to Forest. This is why Pep was outspoken post-match in the FA Cup. He doesn't like that City are playing on Thursday night. It's Thursday, Sunday. It's doable. But then it's all right. Like you go from Sunday to Saturday, 6 days, brilliant. Then you go Saturday to Saturday, amazing. This is when no Champions League really benefits. The double game week is Fulham and Tottenham away. It's 2 London trips within 3 days. I guess that's not ideal, but knowing De Bruyne has days off before and after, I think a fit De Bruyne can start all of these games. And what we saw against Chelsea, when I saw De Bruyne and Foden in the same team, and I only got to a bar at like half an hour in, and I just assumed Foden was going to be playing wide, because usually when they're in the team together, Foden plays wide. But it was Bernardo Silva playing on the right wing, and Foden and De Bruyne both playing as the 2 10s, where we saw Alvarez and De Bruyne playing earlier on in the season when Haaland was up top. So I'm hoping we see that theme continue and both Foden and De Bruyne can pick up fairly central areas and now have them both in the team. But yeah, the spacing here looks all right, looks good. And then when you look at other teams, like I'm going to go big on Newcastle, Spurs and Chelsea. Again, Chelsea's fine. Maybe for injured players or players we know that have had knocks like Gusto at Chelsea or Porro at Spurs, you might be wary for the 35 to 36 games. You can see Spurs have got a red and Chelsea have got a red. But most of the players we're talking about are fairly consistent anyway, like, you know, your Sons or your Palmers when fit. So yeah, fairly happy. And then Newcastle, good as well. Good spacing for Newcastle for the likes of Isak and Gordon.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. That's an interesting graph. I like it. Just to go back for a second to what you're talking about, Nico Jackson and Hoyland. Quite a few people were asking about Werner as an option.
Oh,
what do you think of Werner? Do you just don't trust him as well for goals? Is that the problem?
Yeah, he's the only one listed as a forward because Richarlison's listed as a mid and Brennan is listed as a mid. I think if I was going for a Spurs attacker outside of Son, I'd be going Brennan Johnson just because he seems to be flavour of the month. And I wonder if Son goes out to the left and Werner gets benched because Richarlison is going to come back into this team at some point. So, yeah, I think Werner's a little bit too... And when we talk about bad finishers, you know, Werner, Jackson, you put in the same sentence. Maybe we should poll which which striker would you most likely go for on Wildcard? Højlund, Jackson, or Werner? Because they're the three sort of main options outside of an Isak. Everyone's going to go Isak. We won't poll him.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. 177 in the chat right now. Do give us a like and subscribe if you can, people. 40 people have liked so far. We've got over 7,000 subscribers, but I think our aim for this year, mate, I want to get to that 10K. I don't know where we're going to get, but I think like big push between now and pre-season. We're going big on CGA. Get to that 10K because we are still, I don't want to call ourselves underappreciated, but underachieving as to what our numbers can be. Come on, spread the word, get CGA to 10K. That's where we need to be.
What team should we say we are? We're Crystal Palace, like going for a big sort of end of season run in or something? Or like, I don't know, there's talent there you can see that has now been unearthed. The next season they're going to go and test themselves.
Yeah, we've got youngsters like Chai breaking through, you know.
Chai is a Spurs fan, says Werner would be a no-go for me only because someone. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're thinking the same thing, Chai. I guess I should show my wildcard team. Look, guys, stay tuned because I've got a brilliant Miami story that I really want to tell. I wanted to tell when Roger's in the chat, who's FPL Gooner, because I went and watched the Inter Miami under-12s and Messi and Suarez were there watching their boys. And I want to give you a little bit of a scouting report. But maybe we'll do the wildcard team first, and then I'll get to that story later in the show.
Let's do that.
Scouting report of some under-12s, honestly. Genuinely, I couldn't believe it. It's literally like watching a Barcelona kids team. Like, amazing.
How would you have fared in the team, mate?
I just, honestly, usually when you watch children play, you'd go, oh, if I was on the pitch with them, I'd just be beasting them all. Absolutely not. Like, they'd be running rings around me. So this is my first attempt of a draft. And look, it will change, okay? The common theme with all my drafts are going to be triple City, triple Spurs, triple Newcastle, and triple Chelsea. If you have 12 players from those 4 clubs, so 12 of your 15 of those 4 clubs, this is a bit of a math question. Let me know in the chat. Let's see who gets it first. If you have 12 players from those 4 clubs in your wildcard, how many extra sets of 90 could you get between now and the end of the season over a team of 12 players that just have singles?
Oh, wow.
I've worked it out. I've got the answer.
Good.
I did that before we came on. So let's see. Maths question. How many extra sets of 90 could you get if you have 12 players from the 4 teams I just mentioned? Spurs and Chelsea that have the double-double, and City and Newcastle that have 1 extra double. Get your guesses in, guys. Get your guesses in.
Yep, Nick's first with 18. We'll wait for a few more to come in before you reveal all. Steve just copied exactly the same number, so maybe it's the right answer. Double Spurs defence, not good at all, says Stephen.
It's not.
No, it's
not. But they're on a double game week, and they'll be benched for the Liverpool game, which is a single game week. Okay, you guys are way better at maths than me because this took forever. It took. I honestly had a few different versions of this, and after double, triple, quadruple checking, I came out at 18. FPL Joe has summarised it nicely there. It's actually, I don't even understand that, FPL Joe. Yeah, I thought you summarised. You probably did, but I don't get that. The math.
Yeah,
but yeah, the thinking
doesn't work for me. But yeah, it does. I think it's just 6, 12, 18. It's basically 3 times 6. So it's I
mean, there was guesses at 24 and 16. So just for those that weren't fully aware, because I think I had a 16 and a 24. Chelsea, you get 6 extra performances from your 3 players because they have the double.
Yeah.
Spurs, you get the same. So I'm just putting my hand. That's 12, right? So 12 from Spurs and Chelsea because they double. You got 3 of them each. And then City only have 1 extra double. So that's another 3. So that's 15. And then Newcastle, same again. So that's 18. So you get 3 additional fixtures from 2 teams and 6 additional fixtures from Chelsea and Spurs.
Okay. I don't really fare very well here because I've used my wild card. I've got 2 free transfers. In my squad, I currently have 1 Chelsea player, 1 Man City player, no Newcastle players.
So they're your free transfers between now and 37. The good thing is they don't double till 37. So
so now I know that I've got 2 free at the moment, and I need to make sure that I'm using these wisely.
Oh, and you're on 2-3. That's nice, mate.
Yeah, so I'm
You're
on
fine.
2-3.
It just means you won't have a Spurs defender or a Chelsea defender, for example, which is fine because
Which is
yes,
fine.
I'm going with a Van der Ven and a Gusto because of the fixture play. But as it's been mentioned in the chat, double Spurs defense is rubbish. I know that. Try not to see Vicario as double Spurs defense though. Like Vicario is as good a keeper in terms of save points as any, and there's very few goalkeepers we can predict, especially those on a double, that are going to get clean sheets in 35 and 37. So for me, you just go for the save points. And actually, I think Onana is a good option too. You could argue, if these are my two keepers, remember, I'm bench boosting 37, so I get both their doubles then. Onana versus Burnley, Vicario with a double, even though I think Man United concede, so I'm just going to go again for save points and go Vicario. This week.
Yeah, I think that's fair. How much faith in the Chelsea lads?
I mean,
like what is your order here of like obviously Palmer you just need obviously it says 40% owned, 7% owned. I mean,
that's plenty, that should be 80.
Well, what's the percentage of people that actually play the game still? Like, how far has that dropped? Yeah, I'm gonna say like because we're like towards the end of the season now, so I don't know how many people are actually still playing the game, but say it's 65% or something. Then Palmer's still going to go up from 47. So I guess you just got to put faith that Nicholas Jackson does actually come through. Let's shout out Nick quickly, who's come through with a lovely £5. Thank you very much, Nick, for the super chat. If it were to turn out Haaland is out longer than expected, what would you do on Wildcard 35? Go Alvarez and leaves funds for Haaland?
Possibly, Nick. The problem, you're on Wildcard like me, and if you think he's going to be back for 36, 37, and you know you're going to buy him for 36 or 37, you're booking in a transfer. So yeah, you could go Alvarez and save funds, but if you're building a wildcard team and you're bench boosting in 37, you've probably got some really good bench options. So for me, I would probably have Haaland in my squad and just bench him. And no, I've got a Foden, for example, coming off the bench this week. So you can see my first sub is Foden. So I think I would, even if I knew Haaland was out for the Forest game, as long as I knew he was back for 37 or possibly even 36, I'd keep him in my squad because I just don't want to be booking that transfer in, I don't think. And I don't think Alvarez offers you a big enough upside. Like when Haaland's missed games and Alvarez has played of late, it's not been great, to the point where I wouldn't even be surprised if we see a Foden number 9 appearance, which is what we saw a lot last season in Haaland's absence. So yeah, I don't think I would make the Alvarez move myself.
Yeah, that's fair enough. What happened with that poll? Did we read that out in the end?
I can't view the chat.
So all right. Let me have a quick look.
Ryan Potter's in the house from Canada. Hello, Ryan, mate. Hope you're well. Good to see you supporting and watching. Thank you, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. So which striker would you go for on a wild card? The poll is complete. Jackson, 58%. Højlund, 29%. Werner, 11%. So, yeah, still has faith. People still have faith.
Yeah. So the rest of the wildcard team, like that defense, let me go through my locks. Like Vicario and Onana feel locked. That back three isn't. It could be Dan Burn, it could be Porro, it could be Disassi. Let's see about Gusto's injury. It's worth noting Porro is loads more expensive than Van der Ven. Like you need an extra 1.5. I'm not sure if it's completely worth it, although obviously I'd like to spend that money if I could. But if you go De Bruyne, you need to be slimmer in defense. If you go Bruno, you can have a Porro, you can have a Trippier. The midfield we spoke about earlier picks itself in terms of 4 of the 5 spots. For many, it will be Bruno. For me, it will be De Bruyne. And then Jackson could be Højlund. Isak's a lock. Haaland's a lock. Foden's a lock. Gabriel is in there because he'll play in 36. You can see he's got Bournemouth. And again, in game week 38, I think they've got Everton at high. It's another clean sheet banker. Like it's the best defense in the league. So Gabriel is the only player I have that doesn't double in 37. And if I'm thinking about a bench boost in 37, yeah, it means I have one player that's not optimal, you could say, because Gabriel, I think, has a single game week against Man United at Old Trafford. But he's been that good. And Arsenal defence again this week showed us that if you're invested in the double up, Saliba and Gabriel, White and Gabriel, you've been rewarded. Again against Wolves, Saliba got the 3 bonus points. Or 2, he got, I think, 8 points. So it's a monster performance every week.
Yeah. Few quick questions. ISG, where is Watkins, top scorer in FPL?
He's down to about 10% EO as well around my rank, I think. So he's been a real differential for those that kept him. And this is what we should probably acknowledge with double game week planning. I am going back for it, and we have been guilty of just beelining for double game weekers. Watkins doesn't have a double, and everyone sold him, and look, he's still scoring every week.
Yeah, exactly that. Nick says, "Am I mad to go with Trent on wildcard? Means getting Garnacho as sub 1 most weeks."
Yeah,
you like Trent or not?
See, I moved mad for Trent this weekend and was like, I'm there for it. But when we look at the fixtures, they're all right, and Trent is amazing, but he's so much money. Like, you need 8 million for Trent. I think he's like 7.8 or 8. I can't remember what I paid. Let's have a look now. I've got him in my actual team. It's just a lot of money. If you want De Bruyne, you probably can't have Trent. It's 8.4. Like, that is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Finding that cash is going to be difficult. Like Trippier, let's see about his availability, because he offers similar to Trent in terms of attack, and he's around the 6 a price point, or maybe 6.5, I think. So yeah, but again, we don't know about Trippier's injury. We don't know about Gusto's injury. We don't know about Palmer's injury. We'll know a lot more by the end of the week.
Yeah, exactly. Pablo wants to know if there's any consideration for a wildcard 36 instead. He's already got double Spurs, Chelsea, and Newcastle plus Onana.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you're well set for Newcastle and Spurs, yeah, I'd also argue the Chelsea double and the Spurs double are both better in 37. So the need for triple Chelsea and triple Spurs now isn't great. Like Chelsea, Aston Villa and Spurs. Son and Spurs play Chelsea and Arsenal. Yeah, I think you probably could wildcard next week. Have a look at your wildcard next week and see if you think it's drastically different. What I would say is every week there's an injury, there's something that changes our planning.
Yeah, there is. CH says, "Thank you all for watching. Glad so many here. Be sure to hit the like. Really helps the channel." I will echo those words. Thank you very much, CH. Which City defender would you pick outside of Ederson? Michael Scott says.
I wouldn't go Ederson because I just never think you get save points with him. And I know Lot will go there. I would go, I mean, Guardiola offers something in attack, doesn't he? Like, he's always quite wide. I thought we were going to see Guardiola playing left centre back, but Pep's easing him into the team at left back. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe next season he gets more game time at centre back. But Guardiola for me, he's also under 5 million. I do think Akanji always gets his way in the team somewhere, anywhere along the back four. But I think Guardiola for me. But it's Guardiola or De Bruyne again, and I'm just there for that side.
Definitely. CH is apologising to Danny B in the chat. Turns out he'd been timed out accidentally. CH, I'm sure you are forgiven. There's no way you did that on purpose. Danny B says, all good. What a lovely team spirit we've got here. This isn't like being at Chelsea, is it, mate?
Fighting over the penalty as well. I mean, I don't know if we discussed that last week. I wouldn't have been on, but that's just embarrassing.
Yeah, nothing like that here. We're all very harmonious in our team spirit. There's too much rotation risk in the City defence for me, says Joe. Ice G says Castagna never gets spoken about.
He scored his first Fulham goal, didn't he? But you're not buying a Fulham defender now. You're just not.
No, you're really not. And you're not getting another goal off him either. I mean, I couldn't believe he was even in that position. Lovely moment. I actually didn't even see the goal. I was down getting a beer at half time and I was nicely standing there. Luckily, the screen was on in front of us. We heard the cheer and then turned around and saw the screen and the ball hit the back of the net. So I didn't even see in real life Castagna's goal. Let's see what else we got. Stephen says, is it worth selling Saka or Salah for a doubler this week?
Yeah, so if we look at this wildcard team, let's look at some of the big names that I don't have. So obviously there's no Watkins, but in my actual team, I'm selling Trent, I'm selling Salah, I'm selling Saka. Big gamble. I would say with Saka, though, I think there's a bit of a fear factor with selling Saka because of his ownership. Like, Saka's one of the most highly owned players in the game. When you look at his output, there's very little between a Saka and an Odegaard, for example, or even of late a Havertz. And you look at it, and he has the penalty appeal. But against Wolves, another example of Saka being okay, good, but you never feel like you're going to miss out on a 20-pointer from Saka. I'm fine ditching him. The Bournemouth fixture's nice, but there's lots of routes to goals at the moment and points at Arsenal, especially with the likes of Havertz and Odegaard stepping up. And Martinelli will be back in firing soon, and Jesus will get a goal or two. Saka doesn't come with that same sort of talismanic sort of status as a Palmer, for example, or a Son, or even a Foden at times.
Yeah.
And with that, I'm happy ditching him.
Yeah, on Friday's show, I did say, partly in jest, that the player we would all need from that Arsenal attack would be Trossard, and of course he scored. Of course he scored. Nick's thrown another £2 at us. Says, thoughts on triple Newcastle attack with Barnes? Thanks for the money, mate.
I just looked this morning. God, I mean, here I am. It's meant to be like, I said to Dean, I was like, 9 o'clock is the earliest I can do because I've got a late flight. And I set my alarm for 8:55, right? And it went off 5 minutes before the show. I've been up 5 hours. But I was also, so I mentioned I found that ticker from that we showed earlier from Legamani, which is great. But I was also looking at the average position maps of a couple of teams. And against Spurs, it's worth noting Newcastle played a 3-5-2. I think that's the first time Eddie Howe this season has played it. He's not always had Barnes available, but he played Barnes one wing back and Jacob Murphy the other. He's had injuries at fullback, which is probably why. But boy, did it work. That 4-0 performance against Spurs was one of the best performances of the season. Now, what that does is it gives Gordon the opportunity to play alongside Isak in a central 2. So firstly, I think Gordon is an unbelievable option now more than ever because he could play alongside Isak, which is where he did against Spurs. Even when Gordon's out wide in a 3, he's still brilliant. Sheffield United and Burnley up next. But it did put Barnes at wing back. Now, you might think, oh, is he going to be too deep? Barnes at wing back when you've got the ball loads is like Barnes playing as a wide forward. So still a nice option, a cheap route. I don't hate it, Nick. But I do think Newcastle defence can keep a clean sheet or two. And I think I would prefer a Schär or a Trippier or even a Dan Burn, just knowing they've got Sheffield United, Burnley and a double game week. In those 4 fixtures, I think we might get 2 clean sheets. That Newcastle defence is much improved in recent weeks. They kept Spurs out. So I wonder if you just go a bit like me and go for Gordon, Isak, and then depending on your budget, one of the 3 defenders, either Burn if you can't afford the money, Schär if you want to spend a bit, or Trippier if you think he's fit and you want to go all out.
Yeah, nice one, mate. Right, FPL Matty Winalot has jumped in the chat. And he says, lads, I'm at my best rank of the season. I've gone from 640k to 310k, 81 points so far with 11 to play. Had triple Palace attack, 7 returns, 7 bonus points just from them. First time joining, lads. That's superb, Matty. Must be delighted with that. I could do with a week like that, not going to lie. I'm 700k, I think. So that's the exact sort of week I need that could totally turn around where I could end up. Danny B's asking what the word is on Udoji. He ain't going to be playing, mate. If you've got him in your team, you don't want him anymore. Done. All done for him this season.
I don't know if he's out for the Euros. They didn't say.
I think got the feeling it was done. So,
and he's not a starter for Italy, but it would have been nice if he was in the squad. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's not good. Let me just have
from our newbie, by the way, who's just got the amazing rank from 800k to Matty Winalot.
Yeah.
First time joining, so make sure you subscribe, Matty Winalot. Hit those buttons, and that is good. Does show anyone out there like you can half your rank with one good week.
Yeah, it's crazy what you could do, especially if you can just be a bit braver or go a little bit different. 3 Palace attack. No one's expecting that scoreline, but this is a weird time in the season. We're going to get some really weird results coming up, and just go for it at this point. If you're like me, I'm going to have to make some weird picks when I'm looking at these treble ups of Chelsea's, Spurs, and Newcastle's. I might go a little bit different to what everybody else is doing just because it's not as obvious as it always looks. Otherwise, I'm never going to actually climb anywhere up here.
A few said Spinazzola will be left back. As much as I adore Spinazzola for his last performance in the Euros, he won't be starting. You guys are forgetting Italy probably is their strongest position is left back. And the second best left back in the world is Italian. Fede Di Marco will be starting left back for Italy. Theo Hernandez is, of course, the other.
Di Marco's great, man. Di Marco's great.
All the best left backs in the world play in Italy.
Actually, probably do, yeah.
Which is one position they're really strong in. So yeah, if you are playing Euros FPL this summer, Di Marco will be an unbelievable FPL option for that game, I expect.
Yeah, we need a code word for the real chai, says CH. The only thing we could do, G can message him, and it's the only way we have to authentication now. When we're looking at people, we're gonna have to start sending them a text with a code in it, and they have to put in the right code into the chat so that we know it's actually them. Absolutely ludicrous what people are doing to us in this comment section, but we'll try and sort that out. CH. Watching the derby today. Inter will win the league. Yeah, it's a massive night actually in Serie A, isn't it, G? I mean, I don't know how you should be able to watch this, depending on what actual work you've got on today. Serie A is lit tonight. It's a really good night of Serie A because right now, actually, we have Roma Bologna going on. And then it's AC Milan against Inter Milan. Inter Milan, technically the away team here, but they're going to win the league.
Yeah. I must admit, the time difference has completely thrown me with all football. Like, I looked. So if I was still here on Saturday, the FPL deadline is 3 a.m.
Yeah, this is why it's so hard around the world. Like, we do have an advantage being in the UK just because it's catered towards you. It's still having suitability to you in terms of the kickoff times, obviously. But yeah, you'd be at a massive disadvantage if you lived in Seattle permanently, mate. And maybe when I'm in San Diego next season, I can use that as an excuse for me. Did either of you boys have Palace assets? I had Mateta and I had Joachim Anderson.
Oh, nice. Got an assist.
Yep, so I got a few points off him. But yeah, Mateta was the one that gave me a decent score. And in my mini league, actually, I did take a little jump. So I'm up to 4th now in my mini league. I'm in the money spots now, so that's handy. One more spot up would be better. I think I get 50 quid for 4th or something, which is your money back. You get 1st. I'm not going to get 1st because he's too far away. But you
get payout.
400 quid or something. Yeah, I could have done with that.
I wish I was allowed to take part in the money leagues. The FPL made it really clear when I started doing the show, you're not allowed to take part in any money leagues. And if you're caught, you'd be like kicked off the show.
Yeah, so it's just not worth a little slip of the tongue or something. Or
Sachin says Euros FPL ? Yeah, there will almost certainly be a UEFA version of it. We did try doing content around, I think, the last one, and you guys didn't particularly love it, and the game was rubbish. So I don't know if
problem, isn't it?
will be doing that this summer. But
any new versions of FPL, even this challenge game that's been introduced, when there's been World Cup versions, it's impossible to keep up with. It's just not as fun. Like, this is the version we all want. This is what we all love, and anything else is just inferior. But yeah, I'm sure there will be a Euros version of FPL. Matthias wants the top 3 Spurs and Chelsea assets. I mean, are these the 3 that you've got of each in your team? Are they the top 3?
I think Chelsea's 3 are, if Gusto we think is fit. Spurs isn't. I think for Spurs, depending on your risk appetite over minutes, you might want to punt on a Maddison or a Brennan Johnson. It's just they haven't been playing great. Maddison hasn't, and Brennan could see some rotation with, say, Kulusevski out on the right-hand side. Van der Ven is in because he's cheap. Porro's clearly the better option, but you've got to find $1.5 million. And if you want De Bruyne in your team, you can't go Porro. So I do think Vicario and Son would be 2 of my Spurs, and probably Porro would be the 3rd. Chelsea defence is interesting. If you don't go Gusto, Cucurella, I don't like, but he's under 5 million and he is the starting left-back at the moment. Like, Chilwell can't get in the team, and Poch's trust issues with Chilwell. Ironically, he's not the first manager to have trust issues with Chilwell, and Gareth Southgate feels the same. Like, managers don't seem to trust him defensively in a back 4. But I think Cucurella's a liability. I'd play Chilwell all day long. Who comes in for Udogie could be a good way of looking at it, Alan. Ben Davies probably does. And when we've seen Ben Davies play in a back 2 or 3 this season, he's obviously been deep. There's been 1 or 2 games where he has played as one of the fullbacks, started, and he's been taking up those really nice Udogie-style positions in the box. So I do wonder if Ben Davies is one to monitor. Chai, what do you think about Ben Davies? Let us know. I guess he's under 4.5 million. Chai does like Maddison. Let us know.
Yeah. Colm, who did you captain this game week? Dean went Eze. I couldn't get myself to go Salah. Yeah, obviously I did captain Salah. Very mixed feelings about him being on the bench at Fulham. I was pleased, but I was also like, well, Salah's not in form anyway. It was a weird decision this week to try and ignore Salah, but then seeing him on the bench, I just felt very conflicted by it all. It's all a waste of time. Asim says 93 points, rank jumped from 1.1 million to 540k. Trent Jota, 3 Crystal Palace attackers. Bang. Here for Gianni, the closest content creator that matches my risk-taking play style. Look at that.
Yeah, we don't see you on CGA much, or certainly not in the comments. So make sure you hit and subscribe. And thank you for joining. And yeah, Asim, that's amazing, mate. Like, I so wish I mean, you probably watched my free hit draft video on my channel, and I think I had Trent, Jota, Triple Palace. So yeah, that's amazing. Good effort. FPL Chai says he's love-hate with Ben Davis as a fan. Such professional, but always makes mistakes. Loves the yellow. I do wonder if Emerson Royale gets some games and Davis at others. I don't know. It's a tough one to call that. Subscribed, it seems, says. Good man. So yeah, interesting one to monitor there at Spurs with those slots. I mean, it's unfortunate it's Spurs and Chelsea with the double-double, because whilst they've got players that we would own anyway, regardless of double-doubles, like Son and Palmer, but the fringe or the second or third or fourth best options in those clubs aren't that appetizing, especially at the back. Like Chelsea and Spurs especially, don't keep clean sheets, do they?
No, they don't. Not now. You thought that might change. I mean, we know that it was going to be a bit of basketball football when Ange came in, but it just hasn't stopped. Bromer says, "Hi guys, not watched CJ in a while. Good to be back." Well,
it's
welcome back,
time slot today, isn't it? We've got a slightly different group.
Yeah, and this might be the future. Crazy week this week. Captained Havertz with Triple Palace attack. Fair play. Nice to have you with us, mate. Ziad says 84 points, up to 2,900 overall rank. That's very good, isn't it? That's very good. Triple Palace, double Arsenal defence, Eze captain. Lovely.
Great. I love those that punted Eze captain, because we all do it often out of fear with high EO players like Salah. But I mean, Eze was my vice. I did like Eze as an option, but to go there with captain was ballsy. British 87, when will we hear more about the FPL League story on Gimme Sport?
Yeah, hopefully this week. I've been trying to contact people. Some people just ignoring me, but I've got quite a few quotes coming in now for it from people on their leagues. Let me know actually in the comments, like British, what do you want to know from the piece? Like I'm right. The piece is coming together, but I'm like, what do people actually want to know about people that leak team news the most? Like, what is it that you would be interested to know? So leave me a little message and just let me know. I'm interested to know that.
Zubin, thank you, mate. That's really generous of you. Appreciate that, love. Dean, I said I'd tell my Inter Miami story.
Oh, yeah, you can do that for Zubin.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking the same. So I was invited by FPL Guna, who you sometimes see in the chat, to come watch his son play. His son is 11 years old or 12, plays for the Inter Miami under-12s. And he's an absolute baller. I follow him on Instagram, and he's got 200k subs. Like, this kid is, honestly, like, you don't like bigging kids up too much, just in case you put too much pressure on them. But you feel like he's going to be a pro footballer, whatever level he ends up playing at. He's the best player in this under-12s team.
Is he? Wow.
Yeah, he really is. And this under-12s team is ranked third best in the US, obviously the best in Florida.
Wow.
And I knew by going to the game, which is the Inter Miami training ground, with the stadium in the backdrop, like it's all on one great complex in Fort Lauderdale.
Right.
And I knew when I went that Messi's boy and Suarez's boy play in the same team. And Roger had said, look, they'll be there. So I was like, yeah, I'm definitely up for coming. So we sit down, watch the game, and yeah, Messi and Suarez are there the whole game, just as normal football dads. They've got a game the next day themselves, but they're there on the touchline. Suarez has got some mates with him. Messi's there with his wife. And Roger's like, yeah, like they're just normal football dads. They come to the birthday parties.
What?
They're just normal soccer dads. And
does people just kick out to them for selfies? Everyone leave them alone? What's the score with that?
For this game, because it's open to the public, not that the public would come because it's sort of out in Fort Lauderdale, and people aren't aware that Messi and Suarez are there. They kind of watch from the other side of the touchline. So we're all on bleachers one side behind one goal, and then behind the other goal is closed off, but Messi and Suarez can sit there. So they're the other side of the pitch, so you're not actually rubbing shoulders with them. But then after the game, they're walking to the car park. So everyone runs round to go get a selfie. And what I thought was really cool, they had security at each of the corner flags. So they sort of contained us to let them leave first, but they let all the kids through. So all the kids could go run and get selfies. And then us adults just stayed there, which was awesome. And Roger's stepdaughter came and she was like, I got a photo of Messi. I got a photo of Messi. And it was like, it's such a nice touch that the kids can go and do that. And they're so happy to do it because it means they're only held up for another 5 minutes, not half an hour with all the adults asking for the same.
That's really good, actually. I like that a lot. That's a neat way to do it.
And like you watch all the parents and they're getting animated over their sons playing. Of course they are. Like I was getting animated for Roger, like, cheering him on. Roger Jr. Messi
his kid's better than Messi's kid. How can his kid be better than Messi's kid?
So they're playing the same position, right? So Suarez's kid plays up front. Messi's kid, it's 9-a-side at that age. They move to 11s next year. And Messi's kid plays like Cam. Now, Roger used to play number 9 until Suarez's kid came in and also plays Cam. So Roger Jr. plays in between the two positions of Messi's boy and Suarez's boy.
That's
so
amazing.
When Suarez joined, Roger, FPL Guna, went up to him and said, look, my boy wears number 9. I know you wear number 9 and your son probably wants to wear a number 9. Out of respect to you, like I wanted to offer you Junior's shirt. And he said, no, like it's good. He's got to earn that shirt. So your boy can keep it. So Junior still wears 9. Messi's son does wear 10. And as you can imagine, every team that comes to the Inter Miami training ground to go play them knows that Messi's watching them. And they also know who's Messi's son. So Messi's son, as good as he was getting fouled a ton. Like everyone just wanted to put a number on him, target on his back. And Suarez's son plays just like Suarez, like up, down, high energy. And he was the only kid not wearing Adidas football boots because Inter Miami is sponsored by Adidas. And they're told, even your trainers, when you travel to the ground, have to be Adidas. Yep. Because Suarez has got to deal with Puma, his son is clearly allowed to wear the Puma boots that Suarez wears. So he was wearing these orange Pumas and everyone else had like the Preds on or World Cups or whatever. No one had World Cups. They all had Predators.
Oh, my.
So it was really cool watching it. But yeah, Junior, good mates with the Suarez boy, the Messi boy, and Benjamin Suarez and Thiago Messi. And the chemistry between them all is so good. The three of them just combine so well. Little triangles. The ball's never in the air. It's past the ball into the net. There was at times where we were like shouting, shoot. They just don't want to shoot.
They just don't
like,
shoot.
Pass. And if they shoot too much, the coach will hook them. So yeah, it's just incredible watching it.
That's great. Yeah, that's great.
Enjoyed that more than the idea of going to the actual game. So the next
you probably got more out of it, mate.
Yeah, the next night with the actual game, and I was like, I don't feel the need to go now.
Well, you might have made a mistake there. It was a great game. I did. It was against Nashville, wasn't it?
Messi got 2 assists for Busquets.
He also, do you see the scoop pass thing he did? It was unbelievable. It did look quite fun, to be fair. I still think you might have missed out. Right, we do have a super chat in from a bizarre name, Kuka Uo. KDB or Foden? I've got Haaland and Gvardiol. I mean, that is a bit of a dilemma. You've talked about the need for Kevin De Bruyne for this run-in. Would you take that at the expense of not having Foden?
If money's not an issue, genuinely, I actually go De Bruyne purely because there's a fear that we'll see Foden out wide. And look, Foden out wide is still a great option, and I'd want both of them. But given one or the other, I just think for the end of the season run-in, without the fixture congestion, we could see some De Bruyne big performances like we saw a couple of weeks ago when there was no Foden. But yeah, I'd go Foden if money was no issue. De Bruyne if money was no issue.
Yeah, Zubin says people wait years to catch a glimpse of Messi, but I'm sure Dean's just going to run into him at the supermarket when he moves there. You never know. Stranger things actually have probably happened. He says bizarre name. Yes, all right. I'm not really sure what I was reading, but QCar, I'll just call you from now on. Last couple of questions, because I'm actually off for a nice pub dinner in a minute, mate. I've got Taylor's sister flown in from America, so she's here. She's actually staying in this room, so I'm in her. This room is actually usually facing a different way, but I've now to turn it back into a bedroom while she's here, so I've had to shift the desk over so it could be used as a bedroom again. So we'll just do last couple of questions. Caleb says, isn't Brennan Johnson the best Spurs asset? Yeah, if you go back earlier in the show, G does say that if he was to pick a Tottenham forward, he would be taking Brennan Johnson on that instance. And FPL Joe, how many hits is too many hits? Building towards bench boost in 37, but without a wild card. What do you reckon, mate? How many hits is too many?
Oh, I mean, because of the bench boost, it's important, and you should see it as a 2-point hit, not a 4-point hit. I mean, I wouldn't be hitting in Spurs and Chelsea defenders as much, or even United. Or for attacking players, I'd make sure you've got on them all doubling for 37. For the defenders, not so important.
Yeah.
The clean sheet wipeout goes, and you get defenders just with 1 point games, and you go, oh, Gabriel's on a single game week and gets 6 points versus Man United. So yeah, for attacking players, go fairly big, I think.
Yeah.
Dean, what's our plans this week? I guess there's a big man show midweek, is there?
I guess so, mate. I mean, I'd love to say that this show is efficiently planned in advance. And sometimes it really is. And sometimes we're off the cuff. And I could not tell you what the plans are for this week. Apart from, I'm just remembering that I am in Madrid on Friday.
No way.
Yeah, it's a stag do. I don't think I'm taking my computer on a stag do. So
That's a great place to go for a stag. You seeing a game?
No, there's no. Well, Atletico play on the Sunday night, but I'm coming home Sunday afternoon. I thought about staying for it, but nah. Unfortunately, the Real Madrid aren't at home. I was desperate to see the new Bernabeu.
I know, it looks amazing.
They're not even doing tours at the weekend.
Oh.
I was like, I was fine. I'll just go on a tour. I'll just sneak off.
That's what I did when I went to Madrid. I just had a tour because
at the moment I can't book one. Like it's every other weekend you can book. I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's a concert or something. Maybe like it's the Taylor Swift Eras tour or something, and I need to get tickets for that. I'll have to check it out. I need to have a look at the stadium, man.
Yeah, the tour. I mean, I went before the new stadium, but it's obviously still great. Heavily recommend. I think on Friday there will likely be a stream with Big Man. I think our producers just said maybe there won't be a Big Man midweek show, but it might be on Friday. So yeah, we'll keep you posted on that.
Yeah, get your notifications set. But yeah, it could be that it's a little substitution on Friday. Me out, Big Man in.
Free tranny.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but
okay. Well,
yeah.
Dean, if I don't see you Friday or don't speak to you before, then have an amazing stag, and I'll see you.
Mate.
I guess the following Monday for our normal review show.
Absolutely, and enjoy Seattle.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Chai can make a cameo as well. He's giving it a little eyes emoji. Good stuff, Chai. Yeah, it'd be great to chat on Friday. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Likes and subscribes on the way out. If you're just joining, go back and watch the last hour. It's been a hell of a show. But for now, he's been Dean, I've been Janny, and we've been chasing green arrows. See you later.